Hey guys, welcome back to the Jemscast, a podcast brought to you by Gems. Today I'm here with Daniel. Say hi.
Hey guys.
And today's topic is Aardvarks, pretty much. It's come to my attention that every week we pretty much have, last week was Mallard, this week it's Aardvarks. Though we will be continuing the story of Mallard, Mr. Mallard, as he has been known. Every week, apparently, we get these sponsors from these animal preservation companies, it seems. This week, it is Aardvarks. Specifically, our friends over in western Kansas, Americans for Aardvarks, an American society that helps preserve the well-being of aardvarks in America. Now, Daniel, can you ask me what's wrong? Why would this be weird? Why would this be bad? Why would this be out of sorts in America?
Well, it just so happens, Josh, that we did a little bit of research, and it turns out that aardvarks don't actually live in America.
Wow. And do you know where they actually do live, Daniel?
I don't. Do you know, Josh?
I do know. They live basically right under the Sahara Desert in Africa, guys. Okay?
Must be hot down there.
Right. It's hot. They live there. They're fine. Their closest relatives, according to my resources, are elephants. All right, guys? Elephants. Apparently. That's what I read, okay? Might not...
And we all know that you can trust everything you hear on the internet.
Right. And so I might be sounding like a total idiot right now, but listen, I'm just going off a website, all right? So don't kill me. But basically,
you're doing it for the sponsorship.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. So these people are trying to bring over these aardvarks from Africa to live in America, guys. That's not smart. They will probably not. They'll probably be okay. I don't know.
They probably have rabies.
They probably do. They will probably end the existence of the American people, and that's not good.
Which is why you should go to americansforaardvarks.com and go check out our friends, Americans for Aardvarks.
Yeah, basically, especially if you're self-loathing towards yourself as an American, assuming you are an American. If you're not, and if you just want to kill all the Americans, which, fair enough, then just support our friends at americansforaardvarks.com and start American genocide today. Or at least you'll be one step closer. Okay.
Wow, Josh. That's brutal.
It's brutal, but that's what they're doing, basically. That's who we're sponsored by today. Anyways, so, last week, actually, before we get into this, are we all good with the recording? Just making sure.
Yeah, my recording's going strong.
Sweet, okay. Just making sure, because, Okay, so, last week, we left off in our story of Mr. Mallard, the absolute legend. He was in love with a beautiful Miss Shallard, a female mallard. That is not the scientific term for a female mallard, but it is her name, regardless. You can probably guess the pun. She did not speak his dialect, so he went into the monastery to learn her language, and he did. And so, Daniel, pray tell, Daniel, what happened next?
Well, it just so happened that Mr. Mallard came out of the monastery with his advanced knowledge in all duck dialects, and he walked up to Miss Shallard and began to start small talk with her, talking about the weather, the fishing in the area, how all that was. And it was going great for a little while. But then Mr. Mallard decided to show off a little and swim back and forth across the little pond. Now, Miss Shallard saw him swim out into the middle of this pond and start swimming back and forth. And she was very confused by this. So Mr. Mallard began swimming back and forth and back and forth. And eventually, after he had gone 100 times, he came back all weary and tired.
And fool, really?
Miss Shallard was like, "What are you doing? What was that for?" And he just kind of stopped for a second and didn't really respond. And then changed the subject to talking about the monastery and how great it had been for him to live there for 9 years or however long he was in the monastery. He had kind of lost track. And so Miss Shallard was even more creeped out. And Mr. Mallard was in a place where he did not want to be because he could finally realize that he was not leaving a great impression on this Miss Shallard. So with that, Josh, I'll let you take this away.
With all the responsibility included, I shall continue the story. Basically, Mallard looks at Shallard and he goes, "Listen, all right, we need some entertainment in our lives." And she said, "Well, what do you mean in our lives? We're not romantically together in any means." And he said, "Well, I know, but I just thought we'd hang out for the rest of the day." And she says, "Creepy, but okay." So Mallard takes her to this little spot in Mallard City, basically. Don't think New York. Think like, I don't know. Think
Robin Hood's hideout.
Robin Hood's hideout. Yeah. So, but big, like really big, and loads of stuff. Basically, Robin Hood's hideout was probably a good, because I was thinking of the Doctor Who episode where they have Robin Hood's hideout, and it's like fairly small. It's like it's in a big cave, but they don't show much of it. But then I thought of the book, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was actually pretty big. So, never mind. Anyways.
Your knowledge of Robin Hood is limited by your Doctor Who.
No, I read the book. Okay, I read the book, so that's why I took it back. So I was like, oh wait, it is actually pretty big. So never mind. So think of Robin Hood's hideout. So he takes her there, and he's like, "Listen, Shallard, there's live performance. Let's go see if we can catch any good tunes." So they look over at the busking list, which is common amongst mallards, and he found something quite weird on the list. There was an aardvark playing a flute. His name was Daryl. Daryl the aardvark. On a flute. Unheard of. He should be in Africa. But he's not. He's in England. Because that's where this mallard lives, at least. So they're like, let's see this guy. He's probably only in town for a couple of days, and he's probably going to die otherwise. So they go see Mr. Aardvark. Yeah. And he's playing his flute. Alright. Daryl's playing the flute as good as he can. He's getting loads of cash for it, making bank. So Mallard, right, he says, "Hey, Shallard, you want to throw in some coins, help him out a little bit?" And she says, "No, because he's not that good." And Mallard stops and thinks. He says, "Wow, this woman is kind of obnoxious because, this guy's pretty good, but she's just not having it." And so he says, "Well, Shallard, why don't you just give him a chance? And let's just sit here for like 10 minutes and listen, and by the end of it, we'll see what we can do." And she says, "Mallard, listen, you're not nice and all, but this is kind of demanding, and we're not even on a date." And he says, "Shallard, I think you're right. Let's talk to Mr. Daryl and see what he has to say." And so from there, Daniel, you can take the story.
Okay, well, they walked up to this Mr. Daryl the Aardvark.
Yep.
And Daryl kind of stared at them with these wide eyes, like
beating
no one had
eyes.
Yeah.
Of an alien creature.
From Africa.
Right.
Who's in climate change shock from the cold of England.
So his eyes are especially big.
Anyway, they walk up to him, and he starts conversation with them, and he says to them, "Hey, what are you doing getting on my stage?"
Ooh.
And they said back, "Oh, we were just going to ask you where you were from." And he responded very rudely and said, "If you're not going to give me money, just go the other way." And so they were repulsed by this discussion,
I would
conversation.
be as well.
What were you going to say?
No, I just said I would be as well. I would be repulsed.
Yes. So they left the theater. And they were walking out of the theater when they heard someone behind them. And it was Daryl the Aardvark. And he was coming to apologize.
Wow.
And he said, "I'm sorry, that was mean. Can we come to new terms? Let me buy you some dinner or something." And so they went out to dinner. And I don't know why this guy has a New York accent.
I don't know. It just turned to that. But I'm all right with it. I can't do one, but, you'll just be... Anyways,
okay.
You'll
I'll
finish
try
the
my
story
best
this week. We'll put it that way.
I guess he can have a British accent for you.
Okay, so should we just give him a British accent universally?
Okay, what? They're in England and he's from Africa.
True. Okay, so basically Mallard and Shallard will have British accents.
Okay.
And then what will Daryl have? It's really your
Um,
choice, to be honest.
you know what? We could go back and forth, and I play Daryl, and you play.
I was gonna
Mallard.
say we might want to do that. Okay, so we'll do that. All right. Okay.
So they went up to this nice little sushi place, and there, because it's universally accepted form of food for ducks because they like both rice and fish.
Good.
And so Mr. Aardvarks said, apologized again to Mr. Shallard and Miss Mallard. Yeah, Miss Shallard.
Yeah, not Miss Mallard yet. Not yet.
Yeah, right. And he said, yeah, I'm really sorry about that right back there. I was just kind of, I'm just kind of out of it with this cold and stuff. It's so cold up here, I can't stand it.
And Mr. Mallard said, "Oh no, absolutely, man. I mean, really, don't worry about it. It's just, the cold really gets to everybody. I mean, look at me. I'm a bit cold, but it's all right. You just gotta embrace it and get past it. Really, it's all right. Don't worry about it."
Well, I wish I had some. Now it's getting southern. I wish I had some feathers or something because I've got this weird elephant type skin and it just doesn't work up here in this cold, man.
Oh, I know. Don't worry. I completely understand. You want to come back to my place, you, me, and Shallard, and we'll see. Ditch the food. Let's be honest. We'll get a nice cup of tea, and we'll see. We'll talk by the campfire. Sorry, not campfire. We'll talk. Well, I don't actually have a place. Come to think of it, used to live in the monastery. Shallard's not going to be let in. You probably aren't because you're not Mallard. Shallard, you got a place? Yeah, I do have a place, but I'd prefer if both of you men don't come in at the same time as me. It's kind of frightening. And then Aardvark said,
Dude, do you even know this girl? Like, what are you doing?
"Well, we met today actually, about an hour ago, and I guess I'm an open book, you could say, I just let my emotions free to wander the earth as they please. And so, Shallard, I suppose your place is not open for business, you could say." "No, it's not open for business today, Mallard. I'm sorry. You maybe ask later, but please don't." "All right. Aardvark, you got a place nearby? A, B, and B or something? I don't know."
You really think a starving artist like me is going to have a place to stay at night?
I mean, I thought you might have like a hotel room or something booked.
No.
I mean,
There's. Have you ever tried being a flutist in England?
actually, no, I haven't.
It's hard. Trust me.
I can only imagine. I apologize for asking. All right. Well, I guess we'll try to sneak in my place, and we'll see what happens. Banana! So that's the end of our story today. Next week, we'll see what happens when Mallard, Shallard, and Aardvark, or Daryl, all try to go into the monastery, sneak in. We'll see what happens, and maybe
Go into the cellar.
Right, go into the cellar. Who knows? Some new wacky characters come out of nowhere. Who knows? I don't know.
And I'll work on my New York accent this week.
Right, and I'll try to remember both their accents, so they're kind of generic. By both theirs, I mean Shallard and Mallard. Okay, so now it's a bit of a Q&A session with Jems. So, Q&A session with Jems. Today we have 4 questions from Instagram. These are some tricklers that never quite. They were kind of trickling out at the end, and here they are. They didn't make it last week, but so first.
I just realized something, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
There's not actually questions for me.
You're right. I apologize. I didn't think that through. Really, should have said something.
Oh well, it's okay.
At the time when I posted this, I didn't actually want anyone to know that we were doing a podcast. I wanted to kind of keep it secret, so I didn't say this is for a podcast or anything.
Right.
That probably means a lot of people are probably wondering why I haven't replied to their question.
Exactly.
They're probably like, oh, okay. So, first guy, a bit of a smart aleck. If he's listening to the podcast, he knows who he is. He says, I don't hate him. I just, these questions get on my nerves. He says, may I ask you a question? ... That's my question. And it's fine, okay? Yes, you may ask me a question.
Josh, that is kind of funny, actually.
Really?
I mean, I've seen it used before.
I know. It's overused.
Question and answer.
It's just like, it's
But
fine.
It was funny the first time.
Right, but now I've seen that type of stuff like a million times, so I'm over it. Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that? I didn't want to.
I do not.
Good.
You may move on.
We're good. Okay. What does it... This is from my good friend Ethan. I want to give him a shout out. Well, I guess we're not like... Well, yeah, we're good friends. We're good friends. I just haven't seen him for a while. So, well, I've seen him, but not... We haven't, like, hung out. Anyways, what does it feel like to look down on your 7 trillion subjects? Well, Ethan, let me tell you. It feels good sometimes when I get, like, over 40 views on a video. That feels quite nice. I feel pretty accomplished when that happens. Otherwise, I'm usually, like, riding on about, like, 20, 25 views average per video. Just about, maybe a little bit higher, I don't know, but that seems to be the average. So it feels nice to get 40 views. As far as 7 trillion, that's just about how many, there's more people than that on Earth, but it's just about that. No, sorry.
No,
sorry.
actually,
I take that back, it's 7 billion. Sorry, not trillion.
It's a bit of a difference
Sorry,
there.
sorry, it's late. Alright guys, it's late. That's not an excuse. It's very
Hey,
bad.
you never know. They could be listening to this podcast at 11 in the morning.
Right, they could. Just getting ready for lunch.
I mean, I meant 11 at night or 2 in the morning.
Right, either way. Yeah, it feels good to have almost 100 subscribers. I feel pretty accomplished at that. I never thought I would, so I'm feeling pretty good. Next, from my friend, she says, this is from Melissa. I don't know if you guys even want me to say your names, but I'm going to do it anyways, because you guys might
First
feel
names.
a little bit special. I don't know. I'd feel cool if someone said my name, you know? I'd feel like, aw, thanks. Anyways, so, even if I'm not that
Josh.
sentimental. Well, I'm
Josh.
sentimental, but not. What, yeah?
Josh.
What?
I'm saying your name.
Oh, thank you.
Josh.
Yeah?
Josh.
Yes, sir?
What, you said you'd feel good if someone said your name.
It's kind of like that joke that you said was funny earlier, but then, you know, when it's overused. Okay. Why, so she says, Melissa says, why don't you like Maruchan ramen? Well, basically, let me tell you exactly why. When I eat my ramen, I drain the water, okay? Ramen noodles, by the way, if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, I don't know why you wouldn't. But ramen noodles, I always drain the water, okay? It might be a little weird. Last time, actually, I didn't drain the waters, so I stopped doing that because so I'd always gotten, what was it from? It's called Top Ramen. Like, the words are Top Ramen on the package. I can't remember who it's from. That might be the company name, but I don't think so because it's just so generic. But anyways, I would always get from them, and you could drain those completely, and it would taste amazing. But Maruchan is just so, like, it's very gooey. Yeah, that's the word. It's very gooey when you drain it, even when you don't drain it. So regardless, the point stays, it's gooey. It just feels gross to eat. It's like eating slime. But I must say, Cup of Noodles is my favorite, and it's also from one of my favorite games of all time, Final Fantasy 15. The Cup of Noodles was in that game, and it's pretty good. Do you have anything to add, Daniel?
Just that I don't believe... If I've ever eaten ramen in my life, I don't remember it.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's how I was. I hadn't had it till, like, probably 2 years ago was my first time. And it's not great, but Cup of Noodles is pretty good, I think. But it's not fantastic by any means. So you're not missing out on much. I'm not going to lie.
I see what you did there. It's not fantastic.
I don't get it.
Never mind.
Okay.
Fantasy, fantastic.
Next.
Not really the same. Never mind.
Nope. This is, next question. Would a kickflip by any other name be as totally sweet? I highly doubt it, really. Unless it was called like a flip kick. That could be alright. But no, it's still not as cool as kickflip. So, no, I don't think so. Daniel?
I don't think so either.
Good. Okay, so we're
Actually, I don't know what a kickflip is.
You don't know what a kickflip is?
No.
Okay, it's a move in Oh my gosh, I'm having deja vu. I feel like I just had deja vu where I felt like I was talking to you, doing, like, on a video call, explaining a kickflip to you. I just had deja vu.
Maybe it's because we've recorded this podcast like 3 times.
No, it's also, okay, we did have some technical difficulties, but no, it's because, but like a kickflip, like we never talked about kickflip before in our lives to each other.
We have not.
And I just had deja vu of that. Like, that's so weird. And okay, so, so kickflip is basically like, it's when you, like, kick the board under your foot and you flip it. That's pretty much it. It's
Oh, a kickflip.
Yeah.
Like skateboarding trick.
Yeah,
I know what
skateboard
that is.
trick. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so, yeah. So, I have a couple of, we're gonna have a bit of a Q&A session now with you, but I'm gonna test you on your Aardvark knowledge.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so,
I
first...
should have done some prep.
I know, but I'm not expecting to get any of these, and so don't worry, you're not being held up to any high standards whatsoever. Okay.
It's just my whole reputation on the line.
Right.
It's nothing much.
Because everyone knows you for your Aardvark expertise. They all expect you to get these. Yeah. So, okay. According to this website, how many ants can an aardvark eat in one night? I'll give you a hint.
Oh, they're
it's a
nocturnal?
lot. Apparently, I don't know.
Okay.
Apparently, yeah. Looks like it. Well, by
I mean,
that sentence, it looks like
presumably, presumably there's no difference with how many they can eat in a night within a day.
Right.
Or within a day. But I'm going to guess 900.
No. This says, I'm not making this up, this says they can eat 50,000 ants in a night.
Can I have one on my property? That would be great.
I know, that's 50,000
That's amazing.
According to onekindplanet.org. Someone might hear that and be like, that's a satire website, but as far as I know, it's legit, so that's pretty cool. That's a lot of ants.
Wait, can you have aardvarks for a pet? That would be interesting.
I don't know. They seem friendly.
And
enough.
would you have to buy 50,000 ants every night? Or 50,000 ants for them every day?
It's probably like they can eat those, but they probably don't do that I don't know. But probably.
I wonder if you can order ants off of Amazon.
Can you? I'll look it up. But first let me ask you, what other animals come and take refuge it's blanking even though I'm reading the word. Okay, so aardvark burrows, right? When the aardvark's out, what other animal comes in to find rest?
Okay, I'd say mice, field mice.
No, it is actually wild, right? Wild African dogs. Apparently. That's what I'm reading here.
Wild African dogs. This actually sounds pretty scary.
They sound terrifying.
The wild African dogs.
So
sounds like a horror TV show.
Where they just
tonight on the wild African dogs.
That sounds brutal. I mean,
it does.
You can get for $9 off Amazon.com. You can get 30 healthy red harvester ants.
Red harvester ants.
Yeah, it's like a kit, I believe. But that's
so
30.
Like
it's like a farm, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, so you
like
can
the
get
science fair, like the stereotype science fair project.
Exactly.
Got it.
So you can order that for $9 and feed your ant nothing, pretty much. So
9 times 30.
Yep, and you're good. So.
Or I guess not 9 times 30. You'd have to do. Never mind. This isn't a math podcast.
This is not a math podcast, and I anyways, we already know where they live. Okay, what happens? Never mind. I already read that. So, never mind. Sorry. How are aardvarks adapted to eating insects in the soil?
Very well.
And like, how do they do it? How do they do it? Like, what do they use?
A very long straw and a tongue.
Yes. And
basically.
If anyone is remembering this old show from what I remember as Boomerang TV back in the day, I am thinking of that one aardvark from that one show who was blue and he ate he put his straw in anthills and ate ants from those. Is that what you were referencing?
I just was referencing my general biological knowledge of aardvarks having a long nose type thing with a tongue in it.
Yep. All right. I just making
it
sure
wasn't necessarily from that show.
That was a really big nostalgia trip for me just then. Okay. So basically this quote from this website, as well as their powerful feet and claws that aid in digging, aardvarks have sticky worm-like tongues that can be up to 12 inches, that is 30.5 centimeters long. The hair is thick around the nostrils, which acts to filter dirt when eating, and the nostrils can be closed fully to prevent dirt getting in. So basically,
is that an Australian accent?
I was trying.
That's pretty good.
Oh, thank you. Have you never heard it?
No, I don't think I have.
Really? Thank you. Yeah, I can do Australian. That wasn't amazing. Here, let me read some more in an Australian accent to try to redeem myself. Do aardvarks get bitten by termites? Aardvarks is such a weird word to say in a British accent or Australian, and all these sentences start out with aardvarks. So it always puts me off the wrong foot, okay? So I'm going to say they, and when I say they, I mean, aardvarks. So, they are prey to many animals, including lions, leopards, hunting dogs, hyenas, and pythons. They have a keen sense of hearing that enables them to detect approaching predators. If they need to escape, they can dig fast or run in zigzags. If not, they can strike with their claws and tail and shoulders, and have been known to flip onto their backs and lash out on all fours. I would love to see that. Just an aardvark like being chased by like a hyena or something, and it turn on its back and just like kick it, like try to kick the hyena. That'd be sick.
That would be amazing.
I want to see that, dude. That's awesome. This is good to know for our story next week, by the way.
Yes.
If attacked in a tunnel, aardvarks can seal the tunnels behind them or turn around and attack with their claws. Okay.
Wait, so they're like running down the tunnel, being chased by a wild African dog.
Yeah.
And they just like kick the wall and it all falls down.
Yeah, that's like
on the African dog.
That's pretty awesome. Like, aardvarks are pretty sick. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty awesome. They just like kick the wall and it just crumbles and they're like, got him. That's awesome. What are the greatest threats to aardvarks? The extent of threats is mostly known in no particular conversation. Conservation. What on earth am I reading here? Okay, sorry, I got it now. Potential threats include basically hunting and loss of habitat due to agriculture. So there you go. Sorry.
Farmyards here and there.
What? Farmyards? Yeah, basically. Basically people is what they're saying, which I
don't see how
doubt.
people would destroy the ants, which is the source of their food.
Right. Well, I think what they're saying is they're ruining a place for the aardvarks to live, is what I'm seeing here.
Okay.
Like
where they can burrow?
Right, where they can burrow.
I guess they could live in the crawl spaces underneath your house.
Yeah, they could. I might have an aardvark. Well, I don't, because I don't live in Africa. But anyways, so...
Here, aardvark.
Aardvark, come here, buddy. So we're closing in on 30 minutes of this podcast, and we're pretty much done. Thanks, guys, for watching. Remember to check out Americans for Aardvarks. And remember, that is an American society that helps preserve the well-being of aardvarks in America, though apparently they should be moving to Africa, or maybe not, because apparently humans are killing aardvarks. But, you know, I have mixed feelings on that, but I don't know, but I feel like that's kind of unlikely. I feel like animals are bigger threats, but who knows? I don't know. Okay, that's the thing. Daniel, do you have any other conversation pieces that you want to have, or are we just wrapped up?
I think we're done.
All right.
Remember, guys. Remember the aardvarks.
Remember the aardvarks.